Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review for Tokyo Revengers Season 1, and I'm excited to talk about this one for a little bit. I'm just going to talk about the series as a whole. If you haven't seen it, if you're looking for recommendations or whatever when you click onto this, I'm not going to be super spoilery. I'm going to give general thoughts on the series without going into the exact details of every character or anything. I love this though. I think this is one of my favorite seasons of anime ever. This could turn into one of my favorite anime ever. I loved it that much, and I'm surprised. I'm surprised I loved it that much because I hadn't given it a chance up until now, because I honestly thought the art style looked a little dumb. I was like, wow, I don't like the way this looks visually, but I grew to like it. Everyone does look like little babies though. Everybody looks like they're like 12. Even when they're in the future and they're like 26 or whatever, they still look like 12. So it's kind of hard to tell sometimes. It's like sometimes you look at characters and it's like, I can't tell if we're in the future or the past because they all look like babies. In addition to that, it was one of those things where at first I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to take this series seriously because they're all like 13, 14. It's like, in reality, me as a grown adult, if like some 13-year-old wanted to act like a gangster or something, it's like you just put your hand on their forehead and they're like swinging their arms like that cartoon gag thing. It's like there's like, it's hard to take them seriously, but the series still manages to do a good job of it. So really, it sounds like I'm being critical of it, but I just think that's a little bit, it's a little part of the fun in a way. I do think there was one episode though, while I'm talking about the art style, I don't know if it's like episode 13 or something, but I remember watching that one and everybody didn't have the usual like giant lips always speaking like this, like especially when you have the side profile and they're sticking way out. I was like, why is the art style different this episode? It looks like normal anime. So yeah, that was kind of weird. One episode just felt off art style wise, like towards the middle. But either way, I'll talk about it in sort of this order. Let's talk about the protagonist. Takemichi, I think, is a very good protagonist. I like him a lot. I do think he's very, very dumb, and that was frustrating for the first few episodes, but I came to actually think that that was a good decision. And when I say dumb, I mean Takemichi can have things explained to him straight up, and then like 2 minutes later, he's like, what? I don't understand what's going on. It's like, you have to be below 24 IQ or something to not understand what was just explained to you like literally a couple of minutes ago. But I think it's okay because some things really are more confusing. Like if you were in that situation in reality, it would be more confusing for the person in the situation than for us as viewers who are a bit more omniscient. But also, I think that we've seen these kinds of stories with super smart protagonists who are just planning everything out again and again and again. We've seen this before. We have seen the super smart protagonist in this kind of story. So to have him be dumb, I think is good. And I also think that the plot works better with Takemichi not being very smart. It makes more sense that that's how he got into the situations he got into, but it also just, a lot of things I think in the plot would be broken if he could just figure it out that easily. So it adds more drama and more stakes with Takemichi just being very normal to dumb most of the time. This anime is also kind of a thing where I do think you'll get more out of the anime if you know like a bit about Japanese culture. Like if you've watched more anime, if you know more about Japanese culture and like these sort of biker gang things, I think that a lot of things here will make more sense. I feel like those things were more popular in like the 80s, 90s. So by the time you're in 2005, where the past stuff is set, it kind of feels like that stuff would have already sort of been on the sort of way out, but still. I also think that Takemichi being kind of dumb at times is really, and somewhat frustrating at times, is really balanced out by having both an incredibly good plot, like the overall story is just very, very good, and a great, great cast of characters. Like the overall cast surrounding Takemichi as a main character is incredible. You've got Maiki, Draken, Mitsuya, Chifuyu, Baji, they're all so great. Hanma, Naoto is great. I really like Hina and Emma. I think they're very good. Like there's such a great overarching story and cast of characters surrounding the main character that allowing the main character to just be this normal, kind of dumb guy who things didn't really work out that well for him in life, I think that having that works really well just because it's not all we're getting. He's surrounded by such great stuff. And while I'm saying that the protagonist is great, and while I'm saying that the characters surrounding the protagonist are great, the antagonist is also really great. I love two big major things about Kisaki. First of all, we don't overdo it with Kisaki. We pretty much don't see him do anything in the first half of the season, and then in the second half, he barely does anything. We barely see him. And I think that's great. It keeps the mystery of the series going. How did things end up this way? How do things keep ending up this way? Does Kisaki also have abilities, which is something that I question? Or does he at the very least keep his memories, maybe? I don't really quite know how he's doing the things he's doing, but I think it's good that we barely see him because of that. Because it keeps the mystery of who he is and how he's doing these things intact. Is he just that smart and that cunning and ruthless that he manages to do this without powers? It's so cool that we've kept that mystery. And the second big thing I like is so often villains in anime are too cool. Take One Piece, for example. The villains can do these awful, horrible things, but they're so cool that it's kind of hard to hate them a lot of the time. And that's an anime thing as a whole. So often these villains are so cool that it's kind of hard to hate them. But Kisaki is a little shit. He looks like a dweeb. He has one of the most punchable faces ever. I can't stand to look at this guy. He's not cool in the least, and I think that's amazing. I think it's amazing that Kisaki isn't cool. It's so easy to hate this guy. It's so easy to think that this guy is super lame, and that works so well for a villain. And then, the story, one of the main things that it's a time travel series. And I usually don't like those types of shows. I think that time travel is pretty much always really wonky, but I think they do a good job by having it basically like two parallel lines that are always moving forward at the same amount of time, and it's just that the past line is affecting the future line, and the only things remaining the same are Naoto getting memories of how the future changed, and Takemichi seemingly kind of getting memories, some flashes there. So he might get more memories of when he changes things as time go on. And let me tell you, if I was him, the first time or two that I went back and things were kind of screwy, I would be leaving notes for I don't know if his past self can remember the things he's doing when he takes over, or if the past self just flashes back and he's like, whoa, I had a blackout or something. I would be leaving notes. I'd be like, past me, don't fuck this up for me, because past you could really, really mess things up while you're not in control. So I would really be leaving myself some notes, some warnings. So I think that's all really great. And also, like I kind of mentioned before, it's one of those things where even if you are smart, let's say you or I or Takemichi, a lot of people are like, I would just do this, I would just do that. And I had those same moments where I'm like, I would do something. I don't know what you can do, but I would do something. But I think the situations that Takemichi is put into are more complex and more difficult than a lot of people give them credit for. Because let's say it's like you just tell him, oh, hey, I'm coming back from the future, and this is going to happen, and we need to do this to stop it. Naoto was a little kid who was too into paranormal stuff, and he ended up believing him. But for a normal person, let's say you said that to Mikey or something, and he didn't believe you, or Hina, and you ruined your relationship, and then it's like, I can't go back further than these 12 years, so you just kind of ruin things. That moment is always, here's the thing, when protagonists in other time travel shows mess up, it's like, well, I can just go back further again. He can't go back further again. If he messes something up, then it's like, so he can't always do something. Sometimes it is the best to do nothing, because if he does something, he could mess things up irreversibly. But in addition to that, there's so many situations where in the sort of battle towards the end, it's like this character is doing this thing, this character just showed up, this other character seems like they're not doing what happened from what I know of the future, but then where'd this other character go? There's so many different parts moving and so many different things going on that if you're Takemichi, it's difficult to be like, so if I make this decision, is that going to make things worse? Is that going to help? Is that actually going to achieve what my little goal of coming back was to do? So I do think that the situations that Takemichi is put in are more difficult situations than people give it credit for. There was also one thing that I thought of, like in the intro, when I was doing my intro at the beginning of this video, there was something that I was like, I need to make sure to say this. And then I forgot what it was. So I'm sorry, I forgot whatever it was, but if I remember, I'll throw it in the comments down below. So yeah, the last thing to say is that I think the finale is absolutely incredible. I can't wait to watch the rest of it. I love the finale so much. It really bothers me so much that I can't remember what that was that I thought of in the intro that I was like, oh yeah, I need to say this. But yeah, either way, that's sort of the end. I thought it was really great. I think it could end up being one of my favorite anime ever. I love it so much. But I will just say that, you know, I'm going to be watching season 2. It's like season 2 and 3, or it really seems more like it's a season 2 but split into 2 parts. But Christmas Showdown and Tenjiku-hen, or Tenjiku Arc, I'll be watching those when I do my 2023 stuff. The way I've been doing things is I've got a video project coming up where I watched 50 anime from 2022, and I'm going to be reviewing those all together during this video project. And then before I do 2023 stuff, I have like 20-some series that I've been doing. I just did Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm doing Tokyo Revengers here. I'm going to be doing Vinland Saga. Bleach, Thousand Year Blood War. There's so many. Konosuba. There's a bunch of others that I'm going to be watching and reviewing. And then I'll do 2023 stuff. And when I do that stuff, I'll do the next 2 parts of Tokyo Revengers. So shouldn't be that long a wait. I'm hoping to get done with the non-2023 stuff by sometime in February. And also, for those of you watching these reviews, I think that a review like this is more likely what you're going to get compared to the one I just did from Jujutsu Kaisen, where I just talk in general. I don't break down every single episode or anything. But it just depends. For Jujutsu Kaisen, I just took some bullet points, and I got up here and talked about the series, and I did the same for this. I took a couple bullet points, and I just came here and talked about the series. Which is, it has its downsides because I forget things. But like I said, if I remember what it was I was going to say, I'll throw it in the comments or something. Either way, though, thank you so much for watching. I really need to start putting my Annie list so you all can keep up with what I'm watching. I'll start putting that in the description. I really need to remember to do that. I think I said I was going to in Jujutsu Kaisen, but I forgot to. I'm going to try to remember to start doing that. Thank you so much for watching. Like if you like the video, comment down there. Tell me what you thought of this, series, anime, season 1. Don't spoil me for the future, please. Tell me what you thought of it, what you thought of my first thoughts and review and everything. I'd love to talk more about it. So if you want more videos on it, focusing on specific things, just let me know. I'd love to do more. Subscribe for more. Follow on Twitter if you want. If you want a link to the Discord server, it's free and open for anyone. We can talk there about whatever I'm watching or anything else. If you would like to help support the channel, you can drop a super thanks down below if you want to. Or if you want One Piece videos a bit early, if you want shout out at the end of every video, you could go to patreon.com/Haku of the Tubes, or a link will be in the description, or just hit join down below to become a member. So yeah, huge thank you to people who are already patrons and members. Thank you to Chosen Regular Evan Holly, to Magical Girls, FR Nono and Smeller Dog, Cherryton Student, David Langstaff, Slayer Candidates, SG and Stans Eater, and Pure Element Pati Ardayal. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.